Hey everyone, Cheryl here, popping in with your weekly video, and as you can tell from the title today, or should I say this week, we are focusing on love versus addiction. It's a big topic, a meaty topic. It's not really a heavy one though, so I hope you will get some real insights and nuggets from today. Before we get started, I wanted to say a very warm, infinite love welcome to all of our new members. We've had lots of beautiful new souls, or should I say old souls, but new members join us, and I'm really grateful to have you here, and I know I speak on behalf of the group. Thank you for being here and welcome. It's really beautiful to witness that we're all very similar in the group. I think it's fair to say we all have a similar vibe and a similar energy, and that's a real testament to the work we're doing in cultivating a tribe of women. I think one of you named it a sisterhood the other day. I heard the term sisterhood mentioned, and that's really beautiful, and I really deeply honour that and appreciate that, and this is indeed a sisterhood. It's a safe space. So let's talk about, let me get my brew, let me get my cuppa so we can really have a good chat about this. Let's talk about love versus addiction. Now, this was a concept that to be honest, I'd heard about it a number of years ago when I was watching Dr. Drew's Celebrity Rehab. Do you remember that show? I was living in Canada at the time, and I would marathon this show. I was obsessed with it. It was on one of the channels. It was on like all the time on repeat. And in Dr. Drew's Celebrity Rehab, there was this treatment centre in Pasadena in California, of course. Where else would it be in the world? It was in California. I can say that because I used to live in Vancouver. I used to be a bit of a West Coast gal. Now, of course, I'm back in England. But they had this treatment centre in Pasadena, and all these celebrities went there, and there was this rehab. And they weren't just rehabbing from drugs and alcohol. It was other types of addiction. And there was one lady there who said she was a love addict, and I'd never heard of this term before. And what really stuck in my mind is she had a lot of guilt around whether or not she should be there, and what Dr. Drew was saying, and he's so brilliant, he's such a wise man, he was saying nobody's going to pull you up and say you're not enough of an addict to be here, like that's not going to happen. But she was saying that she would go out and use, she would be technically sober, she would not be drinking or using drugs anymore, but she would be going out to get a hit of the guy. And I remember that phrase because it was used in the little VT, the little clip at the start of the show, like every week, so I constantly heard her saying that. She would go out and get dressed up, and this woman was beautiful, stunning, supermodel, like Gazelle Bunchen looking woman, like beautiful Amazonian. But she really had a lot of self-worth issues, and she would go out to get, as she said, a hit of the guy. You know, she would get a high from this rush of pursuit and whatnot. So I became aware of the term love addiction then. This would have been back in probably 2010, 2011, something like that. And I thought I could hear something. It might be my cat at the door, it might be the central heating kicking in, it might be spirit, it might just be my mind, I'm not sure. But also, does Mowgli want to come in and join the conversation? He certainly can. Anyway, so I've been aware of the term love addiction since probably about 2010, maybe 2011, maybe it was that late. And then I got this amazing book called Lovability by Robert Holden. If you haven't read it, I really recommend it. I actually fangirled a little bit, and I got it signed by him when I was at the a workshop around this time last year, and he actually signed it. It says, I know this will be, it's shown as backwards on my screen, I don't know if it's backwards on yours, but it says, "Dear Cheryl, life loves you." And he signed it. It was amazing. Like, he's so tapped into this work. He does a lot of work on love, but also success and happiness. So he really takes those big topics and breaks them down, and he's really brilliant in what he does. So I'm going to read some of the information he's got in his book here, Lovability, and he calls it the True Love Checklist. And when I first read this, I will read it in a second, but when I first read this, it was about a year ago, and I met my twin. For those of you that don't know, I met my twin in May of 2017, May of last year, so it's been about 18 months. Feels like 1800 years, you know. In many ways it has been in other lifetimes. But at this point, you know, I'd probably known my twin about 6 months or so. And when I read this, it did really trigger me because I was really questioning the validity of what I experienced. So if any of you have stuff come up when I read the True Love Checklist to you, then don't worry. All it's going to bring up for you really is some pointers of where things are imbalanced and where some work still needs to be done. It doesn't invalidate your twin flame experience at all. It doesn't mean that you don't love your twin. It just means that there is some wounds still there that need to be healed, and of course we all know wounds can heal, so it's nothing to worry about, but it's just some pointers. So what he talks about really, and one of the ones that really hit me, one of the points in the True Love checklist, and there are about 10 points, one of the points was, is this love or is this addiction? And it hit me right in the old sacral chakra. It really did. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's really interesting. So what I want to bring up is, we can love our twin, absolutely, but when there are layers of wounds on top of it, what is happening is we're loving something else, right? We are wanting to get our needs met. Our inner child is screaming at us, metaphorically screaming, and comes through in this really needy behavior, this clingy behavior, this codependent behavior. For those of you that are new, I do talk about codependency quite a bit. It's not my area of specialty. It is a whole area of specialism in and of itself. The book Codependent No More by Melody Beattie is the gold standard in healing codependency. So if this sounds like something you want to dive into, that's recommended reading. Not required reading for the group, but recommended. Codependency, my definition, is losing yourself in another person, and also feeling as though someone else's problems are your own and that you have to fix them. So it's very much being the fixer. It's like an empath gone wrong, basically. It's a really wounded empathic person who is not coming from a place of strength and wanting to help. It's coming from a place of really deep wounding and wanting to ultimately control the person. So codependency is a really interesting thing. So look that up if that sounds like something that is what you want to dive into. But often codependency can be at play in the twin flame dynamic, and there are people who, not you ladies, but there are people who are very codependent who just use the term twin flame terminology because it really excuses them staying in a bad situation. That's not any of you, but that certainly can happen. And so we need to be really, really careful. Like, are we really loving our twin genuinely? Or do we want to fix them? Are we loving them, or do we want to possess them? Are we loving them, or do we want to have them? Right? So why don't I actually take a read of this and read the True Love checklist to you, and we'll go from there. Oh, that's really, really good tea. I'm drinking this tea that's a mix of rooibos tea, which is like a red tea, and yerba mate, and it's got some almond milk in and some honey. It's rocking my world. Okay, so it's from the chapter Love Does Not Hurt. I really wish I was reading to you my book right now. I really wish I wrote this. This book is genius. It's so good. I mean, it's just, and apparently his daughter drew the heart on the front. Like, what's not to love? So the chapter is called Love Does Not Hurt, and the True Love checklist is as follows. Is this love, or is this fear? Is this love, or is this dependency? Is this love or attachment? Is this love, or do I have an agenda? Is this love, or am I trying to get something? Is this love, or am I in sacrifice? Is this love, or am I in a role? This one's really good. Is this love, or am I trying to change the person I love? Does that sound familiar? I know it does for me. Is this love, or am I trying to control this person? Is this love, or am I trying not to get hurt? So this is really, really beautiful stuff. If you do get the book, this is on page 145 is where that checklist starts. And I've included the points here with the video so that you have it in written form as well. I really want you to ruminate on that. Journal on it if you want. Journal on the one that really hits you in the gut the most. For me, it was about was it the first one? Is this love, or is this addiction? Now, once we heal the wounds that are causing that, and this can come from a myriad of different places, oftentimes it's coming from childhood. If we don't have those models growing up of what a healthy relationship looks like, we really, really struggle with our own sense of self and our place in the world, and it's hard to sort of self-soothe and give ourselves that love and be the source of our own love when we perhaps didn't have parents that loved us, or didn't know how to love us, or they did love us but not quite in the way that we could feel it. And perhaps that is still going on today, and it's difficult. It's difficult to have that model and to have been abandoned, or even to have been perceived to have been abandoned, and then to build up this worldview of I'm not lovable. And he talks about that a lot in the book. A big fear of most people, I think he says every soul is, or every person is, I am not lovable. That's the big fear, and the big truth is I am lovable. So that's his kind of gambit, and he talks a lot about that. But when we heal those wounds and figure out where they come from, usually childhood, it can be from trauma, sometimes it's just from an unhealthy dynamic. Once we heal that, we come from a different place. I can honestly tell you, I love my twin. I absolutely love and respect my twin. But I don't have to have him. I don't have to possess him. I don't have to have him as my partner. I don't even have to be in contact with him. I can have love for him and love him. Incidentally, loving someone and being in love is not necessarily the same thing. But I can have so much love for him and love him enough to let him go. And not in a way of I'm walking away from you and I'm pissed off with you. Like, I did go through that phase as well. And the funny thing about all of my phases is they're documented on social media. So just scroll back through my Instagram, you'll be able to figure out what was going on between me and my twin. But all joking aside, I can honestly say that, I love him and I have so much love for him, and I respect where he's at. I have a lot of empathy for what he's going through. He's taken on a very difficult life circumstance in this lifetime. And I don't know what is going to happen with him and I. I think there probably will be another conversation at some point in the future. I don't think that'll be soon. I know there's some things that are not resolved on his side. I know there's things he wants to say. I feel that intuitively. I get all the signs. You guys know this. You're twins. You know what I mean by the signs. I've been getting that information psychically that there's more he wants to say, and I know what that is. I'll have to put on my surprise face when he tells me, like, oh, right, I didn't know. Wow. Okay. Joking aside, though, again, I don't have to have him. I don't have to control him. I don't have to feel devastated that he's not here. I don't have to feel betrayed. I don't have to feel abandoned. All of those things are choices. The twin flame journey, as you know, is so brutal and so tough, and is different from a lot of other soul connections. However, there are parts of the journey where, quote unquote, normal logic, normal dynamics, normal relationship dynamics do apply. Asking yourself the question, am I getting my needs met with my twin? Am I happy? If I didn't have the term twin flame, would I be putting up with as much shit as I'm putting up with? Those kinds of questions, right? So we don't have to necessarily possess them. We don't have to have them. And if the separation between you and your twin is killing you, that is part of the process. It doesn't have to be drawn out for years and years and years and years. It's digging up all of your wounds, not just from this lifetime, but from previous lifetimes. And so it doesn't mean it's not love. It just means there are wounds layered on top of the feeling that you have for him or her, and it's about peeling back those layers of wounding and really getting to the love that's underneath. And it's really, it's really interesting, and it's still, I'm going to be completely honest, it's still kind of new to me, this feeling of like a calm love. We can be addicted to the drama of the twin flame journey. I'm writing something about that, and I've called it Healing the Drama Wound. We get a drama wound when we are used to our dramatic nature getting attention and love. So if you had an absentee father and the only time you get attention from him is when you were playing up and being, quote unquote naughty, or being loud and gregarious and being emotional, and that's the only time you got attention, even if it was negative attention, even if it was, don't do that, or whatever it might have been. We build that association. Oh, so what I do is I can get attention from men by being dramatic, emotional, distance and drama equals love. Like, that's what we build up. We build up that idea of relationships, because our relationship with our father is the first relationship we have with a man, right? Very Freudian, I know, and I know there's a number of counsellors here, and I know you'll back me up on that particular theory, and it's cheesy, but it's true. It is. So sometimes we get addicted to the drama of it, and it's really important for us to get really honest with ourselves. And I'll be honest with you, I used to really struggle with that, which is why I'm now talking about it and writing about it. We need to be careful that we're not getting caught up in all the hoopla, and that we do apply some logic, because we're here as humans on Earth having a human experience. So it's really important that we ground ourselves into that. And I know all of you have said in some manner or another that you enjoy the way that I teach about twin flames, so it's very grounded into reality. All these people talking about the 5D reality and unconditional love, I mean, it's all really nice, and it's not inaccurate, by the way, but it's just not helpful. It's not helpful when we're going through the deepest pain of our life and someone's telling us to sprinkle glitter on it. If you guys haven't seen the video I did on polishing a turd, you should go watch that. I really did talk about polishing turds. But that's what it's like. It's like taking your shit, pun intended, your wounds, your codependency, your neediness, and just sprinkling this glitter on top that we're calling unconditional love. So what you have there is you have a shiny turd, but it's still a turd. What you need to do is find out where the turd has come from, clean the turd, make sure no more turds brought to the situation, and then you can sprinkle some glitter on a clean surface instead of taking a turd and trying to polish it. That's basically my polishing a turd theory. That's what we do when we try and be in unconditional love of our twin. And people that are, you know, stuck in these cycles with their twins, like when I was first on this, find out I was a twin and I was first consciously on this journey, I would Google twin flames and I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? You've been on this journey for 20 years and they're still separated and you're still in agony. Like, is this what I've got to look forward to? And you don't. You don't have to be in pain for a long time. And if you have been on this journey a while and you want to really get out of the cycle, then you're in the right place. And if it has been going on a long time and things have been the same, then it's more than likely that you're in a karmic cycle. I have a blog post on karmic cycles on my website, so go check that out if that calls to you. This is already a really long video. I didn't think it would be. I guess that's what happens when you're chatting to your people. So I hope that helped you, enlightened you, gave you some things to chew on. As I said before, just journal on this. Journal on the points in the love checklist that really make you go, ooh, don't like that. Journal on those points, right? The ones that make you really uncomfortable and really awkward. Journal on those. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. I bless and honor all of you, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye for now.